You're spending weeks memorizing scripted answers to 20 plus different questions. But the second the admissions team asks you something unexpected, you freeze. I did something completely different. I prepared just 3 stories, that's it. And those 3 stories flex to answer basically anything they threw at me. In this video, I'm going to walk you through exactly how to build your own 3-story framework. Because here's the thing nobody tells you. Your resume, that gets you the interview. But your stories, that's what actually gets you accepted. All right, so once you land an MBA interview, your odds are roughly 50-50. It's literally a coin flip at that point. But here's what's actually happening in that room. The admissions team isn't just checking boxes off a list. They're asking themselves, can I picture this person in our classroom, or leading a study group, or representing our program at recruiting events? And the answer to all of those questions, it comes down to your stories, not your GMAT score, not those bullet points on your resume. Your stories matter. So instead of trying to memorize robotic answers to every possible question, I prepared 3 core story frameworks that you can adapt to almost anything they ask. Let me show you how this actually works. Each story shows a different side of who you are. Story 1 is about leadership, how you lead teams and get stuff done. Story 2 is about resilience, how you handle failure and conflict. Story 3 is about character, who you are when you're not at work. To tell them effectively, you need structure. That's where the STAR framework comes in. Situation, set the scene in 1 sentence. Task, what was the actual challenge? Action, what did you do? Focus on your decisions. And finally, result, what changed? Quantify it if you can. Now let me walk you through all 3 of my actual stories so you can see this in action. Let's start with story 1, leadership. This answers questions like, tell me about a time you led a team, or describe a leadership challenge. Here's mine. So the situation was that I was working at a pharma ad agency that had never built a mobile app before. And I got put in charge of our first ever app project for a major client. The task was to lead a team of designers, writers, and developers, many of whom had little app experience, and deliver this thing in 6 months. Now, here's where it gets interesting. My action was that I didn't just delegate tasks and hope for the best. First, I got everyone aligned on the why. This was our shot to prove we could actually innovate. Then I brought in proven app developers to run weekly workshops and upskill the team. And here's the critical part. I became the shield. I managed the client directly so my team could focus on building without constant scope creep and interruptions. And finally, the result was that we launched on time. We beat our download goals by 40% in the first 3 months. And we created a multi-million-dollar revenue stream for the agency. That project became the blueprint for every digital innovation project after that. That story showed that I can lead through uncertainty, empower teams, and deliver business results. Now, story 2 is about resilience. AdComs love asking about failure. Tell me about a setback, or describe a difficult team member. Does that sound familiar? So here's how I handled it. The situation was that early in my career, I had a manager with this toxic top-down style that was absolutely killing team morale. My task was that I needed to keep producing great work and protect my sanity without burning bridges. Now, most people would either quit or fight back, right? I didn't do either. My action was that I started managing up. I documented everything, anticipated their needs, and delivered work before my manager asked for it. I framed every single idea in terms of their goals and not mine. And I focused my energy on leading my teammates from beside them, not fighting battles above me. The result was that the dynamic became more functional. My manager started trusting me more and gave me more autonomy. My work was consistently rated top tier. And I learned this huge lesson. You can't change people, but you can change your strategy for dealing with them. That's the self-awareness AdComs are looking for. And finally, story 3 is about character. This is your secret weapon for questions like, what's not on your resume, or what are you passionate about outside of work? So here's mine, and this one's personal. The situation was that my wife and I noticed there were almost no children's books representing Indian culture in a fun, modern way So our task was that we decided to stop waiting for someone else to do it and create one for ourselves. Now, neither of us had ever published a book before, but here's what we did. The action was that we treated it like a startup. She wrote and I illustrated the books. I researched self-publishing, handled all the printing logistics, and built an Etsy shop to sell our books. We funded the first print run with our own savings. The result was that we sold over 100 copies in our first 3 months just through word of mouth. But honestly, the real win were the messages from parents and grandparents about what it meant to their kids to finally see themselves in a store. That entrepreneurial spirit, seeing a need and creating the solution, that's exactly what I wanted to bring to my classmates at Cornell. So now you see how this works. You have your 3 stories, and you have your 3 different sides of who you are. Leadership shows you deliver results. Resilience shows you learn and adapt. And character shows the energy you'll bring to the classroom. Together, you're not just another applicant with good stats. You're someone they can actually see representing their brand in the real world. And here's the best part. These 3 stories can flex to answer probably 15 to 20 different interview questions. I hope this helped and hope it gets you started on your own 3-story framework. If you're still deciding between full-time and executive programs, I've got a video breaking down 7 key reasons to consider an executive MBA. The link's right here. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.